Ibijas gusuk tribhuvana. Ibijas gusuk tribhuvana. Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe. Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Nittai Chaitanya Chandra Nittai Gaura Chandra Gaura Hari. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Paramahansa Parivajikacharya Hastatara Shata Shri Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajikacharya Hastatara Shata Shri Srimad Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Founder Acharya of ISKCON Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON Govinda Ki, Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki, Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki, Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki, Shri Radha Madhava Dham Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Yamuna Devi Ki, Ganga Mai Ki, Srimati Tulsi Maharani Ki, Samaveda Bhaktivinda Ki, the Most Merciful Lordship Shri Shri Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gaur Chandra Ki, Shri Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Ki, Shri Shri Radha Damodar ki, and the most beautiful Lordship Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Astatara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Vantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Brahmanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Shri Padaya Krishna Prastavadali Srimati Tamal Krishna Gasanti Namne Nam. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastavadali Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namne Namaste. Saraswati Devi Gauravani Parchaya Nirvishesha Shanyavati Paschita Desatari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. Good morning. And we are at the end of this chapter. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 13, Dhritarashtra quits home. We are at the end, the last verse of the chapter. So what we're going to do is we will chant this verse, read, and then give an overview of the entire chapter. Hopefully we can understand, take away some valuable instructions. Alright, text 60. Iti uktva atha aruhat swargam naradaha saha tumburuhu yudhishthiraha vachaha tasya Hridi kritva ajahad suchaha iti uktvatharuhat swargam iti uktvatharuhat swargam narada sahatumburuhu Yudhishthiro vachastasya Hridi kritva jahachucha Hridi kritva jahachucha Iti uktvatharuhat swargam Narada sahatumburuhu Yudhishthiro vachastasya Hridi kritva jahachucha. Please chant. Iti uktvatharuhat swargam Narada sahatumburuhu Yudhishthiro vachastasya Hridi kritva jahachucha Iti utvadharat swargam Narada sahatumburuhu Yudhishthiro vachastasya Hridi kritva jahachuchaha Iti uktvatharuhat swargam Narada sahatumburuhu Yudhishthiro vachastasya Hridi kritva jahachucha. Ladies.
Iti uktvatharuhat swargam
Iti uktvatharuhat swargam
Narada sahatumburuhu
Narada sahatumburuhu
Yudhishthiro vachastasya
Yudhishthiro vachastasya
Hridi kritva jahachuchaha
Hridi kritva jahachucha. Iti thus uktva having addressed atha thereafter aruhat ascended swargam into outer space Naradaha the great sage Narada saha along with tumburuhu his stringed instrument Yudhishthiraha Maharaj Yudhishthira Vachaha instructions Tasya of his Hridi kritva keeping in the heart Ajahat gave up so suchaha all lamentations Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. We can read the translation together. Having spoken thus, the great sage Narada, along with his Veena, ascended into outer space. Yudhishthira kept his instruction in his heart and so was able to get rid of all lamentations. Go ahead and read the purport.
Sri Narada Ji is an eternal spaceman, having been endowed with a spiritual body by the grace of the Lord. He can travel in the outer spaces of both the material and spiritual worlds without restriction and can approach any planet in unlimited space within no time. We have already discussed his previous life as the son of a maidservant. Because of his association with pure devotees, he was elevated to the position of an eternal spaceman and thus had freedom of movement. One should therefore try to follow in the footsteps of Narada Muni and not make a futile effort to reach other planets by mechanical means. Maharaja Yudhishthira was a pious king, and therefore he could see Narada Muni occasionally. Anyone who desires to see Narada Muni must first be pious and follow in the footsteps of Narada Muni. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 13th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home.
Thank you. Om Ajnanatambarandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Garati Vachalam Pangum Langete Girim Yatkripadamam Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramanandamadam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gadodaya Pushvanto Chitra Sandho Tamonudo Iti Vuktvat Haruhat Swargam Narada Sahatumburuhu Yudhishthiro Vajastasya Ridhi Kritva Jahachuchaha. Having spoken thus, the great sage Narada, along with his Veena, ascended into outer space. Yudhishthira kept his instruction in his heart and so was able to get rid of all lamentations. And so, having described the demise of his uncle and auntie, as well as Vidura, another uncle, Narada told Yudhishthira not to lament unnecessarily and continue with his duties as a king. And here, having said that, Narada just went away, And nobody invited him, he came, and he went also. Generally, when someone is at this level of elevation, spiritual elevation, when they come, there is joy, and when they leave, there is joy, but it's lessened, because there's separation also. So now Yudhishthira has to experience both separation from his uncle and auntie, as well as from an exalted personality, Narada Muni. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains how Narada is exceptional in the sense that he doesn't have a material body. Now, it doesn't mean with material body you cannot travel in the space. Just like many yogis, Durvasa Muni, we all know, went through the entire universe to prove that he was innocent. So, but ultimately he accepted that he was wrong. Sometimes we think like that we are always right, and it's very hard to see. So that was Durvasa Muni. But he was a yogi. My point is more that he was a yogi. And yogis can go to different planetary systems. Just like the 4 Kumaras, who went all the way to Vaikuntha also, but only up to the door of Jaya and Vijay. They couldn't get all the way into Vaikuntha. But how do they do it? They do it through yogic perfection, yoga siddhis, but Narada is not of that same category. Does he have yoga siddhis? Of course. It is endowed. His body is made for traveling in outer space, inner space. He can go anywhere he wants, actually. He's been blessed like that. And he's not using this ability for just for, enjoyment. His purpose is preaching, yeah. Wherever he goes, he's preaching, just like Yare Deka Tarega Krishna Upadesh. So that was his motto. And so he went and he was teaching like that. Srila Prabhupada gives an indication how in his previous life he was a son of a maidservant who was able to serve great Vaishnavas. So Sadhu Sangha is important. It's the catalyst for taking up the spiritual culture, actually. The more people come to our temple, the more they associate with the devotees, the more they will aspire to be devotees themselves, because their true nature comes out. And by his association and by taking the remnants of the pure devotees, he became qualified to practice pure devotional service, and ultimately he was given this spectacular body, which is, although he appears as a son of Brahma in the time or the dawn of creation, still he has a spiritual body. Yeah? He's an exceptional personality, and his service is only to Narayana and to bring people to a higher consciousness. And that's the purpose of the universe itself. And towards the end, Srila Prabhupada says, Maharaj Yudhishthira was a pious king. Pious doesn't just mean following rules and regulations, rituals. Yeah, it is pious, but here the piety here means he's a devotee, he's a Vaishnava. His activities are centered around Krishna. Therefore, when Prabhupada uses the word pious king, it directly also means he is following all the shastras, but he is a devotee of Krishna. He is a Vaishnava. And therefore he could also see Narada Muni occasionally, because so exalted. So anyone who desires to see Narada Muni must first be pious and follow in the footsteps of Narada Muni. Means no more sinful activities. Yesham tu antagata papam janamam punya karmana. Finish that. Then you can practice strict determination, dhrida vrata. So those things are very important for us, and this has been discussed very nicely in the this chapter. So we'll do a summary of the whole chapter, because that was the request by His Grace Srinivasacharya. So we thank him for that inspiration. We also, hopefully, we say something that makes sense. Yeah. So this first canto, chapter 13, entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home, is it's an episode within the Srimad Bhagavatam that if you look at it carefully, it encapsulates the historical events as well as the profound spiritual teachings. More so because Srila Prabhupada wrote the purports, not because if you were to just read the Sanskrit and the translation, you may not get as much, but because of Srila Prabhupada's commentary, it brings to the forefront not just the narrative within the Bhagavatam, but the underlying philosophical and the devotional insights that we need, actually. Yeah? On our own, we cannot see more than our hand sometimes. Yeah. So it's impossible to understand the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition in a very pertinent and in a strong fashion, that the urgency Srila Prabhupada gives. So all this understanding is in his translation, his purports especially, as well as his lectures, Srila Prabhupada's lectures, And of course, so much resources we get amongst the different exalted devotees in our movement, the Sanskrit scholars, the gurus, who are very exalted, how they want to help us understand this philosophy. So through Srila Prabhupada's lens, through his vision, through his mercy, you can say, this chapter is not simply the story of an aged king's renunciation, but it's actually what you call a trumpet or a clarion call to all of us. Yeah, I was speaking with Shobha Kishore yesterday, and how she said we have to become so serious. Yeah, so to all conditioned souls, what to awaken to the understanding the temporal or temporarity of this existence, our material existence, and become more serious, more urgent of our spiritual realization. And that's very important, because the redemption that we want actually is coming from the potency of all our spiritual predecessors. So it's very important, especially so, as I mentioned earlier, Saintly Vaishnava Association. Okay, so in the beginning we see how Vidura's pilgrimage comes to an end after 35 years. He goes for a long pilgrimage. Most of us go for 1 month pilgrimage, because we are much more busy than Vidura was, comparatively. And therefore we have to come back. Yeah, because of the way we live our lifestyle, the perception is that we are much more busy than Vidura. And so we have to come back and take care of very important things that we see. So the chapter itself, you see, begins with the sages recounting his return to where? Hastinapur, yes. And whilst he was traveling, he had the blessings of Maitreya Rishi or Maitreya Muni, who gave his understanding, his realization, and blessed Vidura also. Although they seem to be contemporary in nature, but still Vidura wanted that purification. Vidura wanted to teach us that when we associate with people who are very envious and fallen, we need to actually purify ourselves. Otherwise, the slight contamination will take away the importance and the urgency of serving in pure devotion. So it's very important actually when we think about it. So, of course, Vidura himself is a Mahajan, because he is, who is he? Yamaraj, who was cursed by Manduka Muni, not Manuka honey. Okay, yeah, I keep hearing that. So yeah, he could not accept the moral degradation of his brother, or could he withstand the insults of Duryodhana? Yeah, so both of them were incentives for him to get out of home. When we live in one place too long, we tend to set roots, as they say. And therefore, even though there may be trespasses into sinful lifestyle, we seem to accept it sometime, yeah? Or as you would say, normalize it. So he grew and he understood this is not correct, and he left home. It's not going to happen in our societies, these things, because as I said, we become so callous, as in C-A-L-L-O-U-S, to insults and sinful nature. We do not know the choices that we make is detrimental to our true nature. Okay, so when having met with Maitreya Rishi, he became satisfied in his knowledge, and he is now at this stage, as he comes to see his brother, established in loving devotional service. He is established already. Nothing's going to waver his focus. Yeah, and he's now fully prepared, armed with the arsenal to bombard anyone into understanding, having clarity in spiritual realization. Okay, so Prabhupada in the beginning, he emphasizes tirthas very much. He says it's very important for tirtha. Not for what? Not for fruitive result or rituals, but for spiritual enlightenment. Yeah, we go for parikrams, yatras for spiritual enhancement, increase our understanding, mostly through the association of devotees, satsanga, with saintly people, with spiritual masters, gurus, everyone who wants to increase our understanding of Krishna and so on. So therefore you can say his pilgrimage is what? Transformative. Because previously, although he was speaking to his brother, he could not convince him, and he didn't force or focus in his desire to teach his brother that it is important to take up the process seriously and get out of that. Why? Because he couldn't, he wasn't so fixed himself, it seems. Obviously we know he's a Mahajana, he must be fixed, but remember, these are all Leelas, and so he's showing us in our own circumstances, we may not be fixed. And so he goes and has a transformation, and he comes back, and now he's addressed by Yudhishthira Maharaj as maybe captain of the ship, but Bhavad with the Bhagavati. Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibhu Tirti Kurvanti Tirtani Swantastena Gadabrita. That means he said, now you are carrying the Supreme Lord in your heart, and therefore wherever you go, you yourself are a pilgrimage. Why? Because you can now purify anyone. And Srila Prabhupada also mentions how that the pilgrimage or the places of pilgrimage actually gets contaminated by sinful people. And the way these pilgrimage places get purified is by saintly people going there, and by doing preaching and taking bath and so on. They revive that places for more people to come and drop their sinful proclivities over there. So it's very nice. So similarly, we also, when we have transformation in spiritual, we can go out and preach. But the real reward of parikrams and yatra is the internal transformation for all of us. So when we go on such yatras, when we come back, we should reflect and see, did I change? Is there transformation? Jai Shri Shri Radha Nilamada ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Giri Govardhan ki Jai, Shri Shri Yashoda Damodar ki Jai, ISKCON Guruvinda ki Jai. Okay. Of course, just like in any family, when Vidura comes back, there is a lot of joy, right? When someone you desire to have as companion, you feel great joy. But particularly here with Vidura, it is more than that. One of the things is Vidura practically saved the Pandavas. Yeah. He practically, therefore, the connection with the Pandavas is so much, so much. Not just because he saved his life, he's also a saintly person, and they loved him. This love is based not on material things. Oftentimes when we are young, when our uncles and aunties come, we are thinking what they're going to give us. What gifts did they bring along, Right. I don't know. Like in Beauty and the Beast, right? The daughters ask for different things, except the youngest one say, "Just give me a rose." Again, although the story is about Beauty and the Beast, but then the emphasis is we shouldn't be aspiring for material things. When we are humble and we just aspire for the simple things that are satisfying to us, the Lord, out of His causeless mercy, will give us what we deserve. And so we shouldn't be aspiring for things that are very temporary. So in the same way, when Vidura is, there's so much joyous reunion, yes. And as I mentioned, that love and affection is on a higher level of love, and the exchanges there is on a higher level. It's not like, because you scratch my back, I scratch your back, You lobby for me, I lobby for you, like that. We don't want that, actually. If we have well-wishers, those well-wishers must be praying for our liberation, actually. Going back to God. That is the type of wish that we want from others, not something material. So if the body gets sick and has to go, so be it. We need to come to that stage, because that's the whole discussion here, that the body is failing and Dhritarashtra could not and will not give up that. So we see that. But having said that, so everyone, Dhritarashtra including, and Gandhari, was so happy to see Vidura. From the time they were young kids, Dhritarashtra knew his brother was his well-wisher. True well-wisher. So Dhritarashtra never felt that Vidura was against him, but due to his attachment to his foolish son, he was always favoring his son rather than his brother. Okay. So you can see in this chapter the intimacy and the dependence of the Pandavas on Vidura, but the whole emphasis, although it is there, we can see Vidura's dispassionate, or uncompromising call for Dhritarashtra's renunciation. He did not compromise this time. He did not, So it doesn't mean that you go home to your relatives who are old and be like Vidura. You must have a relationship. If you don't have that, you cannot call for that kind of awakening in their hearts. I mention this because even though Prabhupada initiated so many exalted personalities, but only a few stayed back after Prabhupada left, right? So which means even such pure devotees who coming from Goloka cannot force an individual to take up Krishna consciousness. They can teach, they can give their mercy and so on, but we must be ready to accept it and use it. But the other point you should understand is, when Vidura comes, he although there is this affection and so on, the Prabhupada emphasizes he's practicing yukta vairagya. He's not coming for enjoyment. Although they are family, he is showing the principle of yukta vairagya. In this case, renunciation with devotion. So he wanted that for his older brother Dhritarashtra also. But he can see during the discussion that his brother wasn't willing to actually favor Krishna. All his life he felt Krishna was opposed to him. So there was anger towards Krishna. And therefore Krishna is like, no, I'm not going to give him mercy also. As Maharaj mentioned yesterday, Krishna said, no way, you're not getting to come. So ultimately, he ends up going into the impersonal realm. So we are all practicing Krishna consciousness. So familial affection will be there, but we have to become saints who are kind, but we should also be detached also. We have to learn the art of becoming detached. So we have to balance attachment with duties to Sri Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Acharyas. So of course we see how Yudhishthira praises Vidura, because in the daily discussion among themselves, when he came, they're having Bhagavatam classes every day, and they could see Vidura is so exalted now. He's able to give us understanding of the Supreme. And so Yudhishthira glorifies him. And we shouldn't, again, Srila Prabhupada emphasizes, go to pilgrimage places just for tourist purposes, Yeah, we shouldn't. Or just go there to buy clothing at Loi Bazaar and eat prasadam and say, I've been to the Holy Dham, Holy Dham now, is equated with Loi Bazaar, So, but remember, Loi Bazaar, all those places are run by dacoits and gundas, and we're only making them more wealthy and happy. Right, so again Srila Prabhupada emphasizes our need to go to pilgrimages is for sanctification purposes and a continual building of consciousness of Krishna, and how to relate with devotees in a manner that we are free from faults and they can become free from faults also. It's a challenge, it's a difficult challenge for all of us, but if we sincerely want that and we pray to the Lord, it will eventuate itself properly. Okay. So again, the transformation is very important in this chapter. And in many lectures also, based on our hearing, we find that Srila Prabhupada says many times that the holy places are not the place where you go and think you become perfect. No, it's the saintly personalities. It's the devotees who want to help one another. And that's what we need to understand. So externally we see the pastime places of the Lord, and so the remembrance should be there. But internally there must be positive realization of what I need to do, and also to accept that I have failings also. I may have done so many mistakes. I accept that, right? Also that should be there. Also, the more we accept our shortcomings, the easier it is to let go of attachments. Otherwise it's a challenge, Otherwise we see everyone as being the enemies and ourselves as being the pure devotee, right? This is also a very dangerous thing also for all of us, We do that so much and so many times we do that, thinking we are right and you are wrong, right? We have come across, right, all of you? So this is something that Srila Prabhupada wants us to get out of, because it's the I concept. I, me, myself. I am the center of the world. I see it through my view, and that is not Sura quality. That is Asura. Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita 16th chapter. And as the family inquires, Vidura is silent about the passing of the Krishna and his Vamsa. He doesn't tell them because he has empathy also, and therefore he withholds the devastating news, knowing that the Pandavas would not be able to tolerate. That's why he withholds, There's time, place and circumstances when you can say information and share with people, and there are times when you should not, because it would not be valuable or will not help that person. It will become detrimental. So that's the other emphasis we see in the behavior of Vidura. It's all based on compassion. His motive is compassion. Not so that he's thinking, I know this, I'm not going to share. Generally cooks, I wouldn't say just women, cooks. So cooks won't give them their recipes, because they think if I share the recipe and then I will lose the appreciation from everyone. That's nonsense, When Prabhupada taught Yamuna Devi, Dasi, he taught her, he explicitly told her, you go and teach others. And then he said, when you teach others, you become expert. And that's a fact. In my own life, I can see the more I teach, the more I understand. And then the more I understand, the more I can convey. And then the more I convey, the more I understand. So it is as if Krishna, you understand Krishna in different layers, more and more. And so it's an awakening of a sharing, actually, that, wow, this is something I can infinitely share and not lose out, because what we are sharing is an infinite personality, and therefore how can there be a shortage? Yeah. So that's something that is we all can realize, and therefore, and so we should also understand a person's position, what is their level of happiness, where they are suffering. And so Vidura could understand that they have suffered so much, these Pandavas. Although they are pure devotees, suffering is external, still we do suffer. Like Prabhupada went through sickness, the pain and so on. It is real. We should not think just because he's a pure devotee, he did not have the feelings of pain and sorrow, and seeing disciples go away, it hurts the heart. And the dejection when he wanted to connect them with Krishna. So those are reality. And so Vidura realized, they have already been through so much suffering. So practicing devotees must always think, we should not always think I am right. You may be 100% right, but we should also see the capacity of that individual, the level of their consciousness, where they are from. Where is my compassion in these exchanges? Yeah. So in that way, then we can connect and we can help and we can raise their consciousness to the level that they can become competent enough to pick up services and do better service otherwise. Yeah? So Prabhupada purport highlights many of these things. So similarly, you can see Vidura, he selects his disclosures very carefully for the ultimate good. That's all. And then, and of course, what is the heart of the chapter? It is the rectification of Dhritarashtra. Yeah. It's a rectification of not his Dhritarashtra's heart, because his consciousness has been brought down. Is he qualified to go back to Godhead? Yes. But the problem is he has contaminated his consciousness through the bad association of his own enviousness as well as his son's envious nature. And so he thought, he felt and he was attached to the providence, faith, rather than to the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He thought, I have seen it in my life, people who have been bad and so on, or unlucky and unfortunate, have become fortunate also. So maybe, just maybe, my sons will conquer the Pandavas. So this is another thing we should be very careful also, because each devotee may have devotion in the heart to Krishna that may be much more superior than our own devotion. And therefore, when we interact with such, or any devotees for that matter, we should be very cautious. Offenses will invariably take us away from Krishna, because Krishna doesn't want offensive personalities near him. Not yet. Once you purify sufficiently and you've raised your consciousness above the offensive mentality, then he says, welcome back. Just like when you come through the immigration, they say, welcome home, So the same way, Krishna will say, welcome home, I've missed you. Right? So we see Dhritarashtra's very sad situation. He is overwhelmed with the desires that has been holding him back for so many years, an entire lifetime, thinking that he still could be the king, right? Recently we had in America, all over the cities, they had this new, what is that? Protestant, right? No king protesting. So the same way, no matter what he tried, Dhritarashtra is never going to be the king. No matter what he tried, he can never be the king. Not only due to his false nature, not only was he blind, he was also spiritually blind. Double blindness, you know. Double blind doesn't make one unblind. 2 minus don't make a plus. But in mathematics you can make it, you know. So, yeah. So he's dying, his body is breaking down, and still he has that desire. But Vidura, oh my God, you know, how would someone who has been treated so unfairly, unkindly, still come and want to save his brother, you know? The urgency he shows and the force by which he cuts through Dhritarashtra's consciousness shows us so much love and affection he had, not just for his brother, but as a sense of duty, as someone who has realized now he's sharing that important values that he has picked up. Huh? So some of the philosophical confrontation that we see, and Srila Prabhupada highlights, is time, kala. Kala is time, that it will not wait for all of us. You know, time is something that keeps going, you know. It'll pass by you and say hi, and then it'll go. And you say, wait, it says, no, I'm going. You know. You say, wait for me. No, I can't. Time is like that. And then we see death. Invariably, time still continues, and we are moving with time towards death. So here Vidura directly cuts through Dhritarashtra and says, you're going to die. You know, you're going to die with this mentality. And the other thing also, because Vidura is now fixed in his pure devotion, he has so much potency that by his association, he removes the doubts in the mind of Dhritarashtra at the same time. Sometimes you will have experience when you are with a very exalted devotee, you find those misgivings in your mind is shattered by their words or simply by being around them. Zoom. And then you realize, I'm a fool. What am I doing? You know, why am I not becoming serious? So sarcastically, Vidura addresses him, "O king, you know, you're now living in the mercy of the Pandavas, especially Bhima. You're like a dog eating the remnants of Bhima, Sena." And that, you know, that is the one that really, you know, irked Dhritarashtra, because Bhima Sena was the one who killed all his attachments, you know. In a sense, we can say we have also 1,000,000 sons of attachment. And so Krishna, through different devotees, will kill each of these attachment or sons of attachment. And then eventually we have no one but only Krishna to be attached to. Until we see Krishna in that way, all these sons of attachment are going to take us away, just like Duryodhana took Dhritarashtra away from us. So he counsels Dhritarashtra. He says, immediate renunciation. How? Because he has awakened him. The urgency is set in Dhritarashtra's heart. We know sometimes in the association devotees, the seed of devotion is already there, but they can fan it up. So similarly he fanned, and the fire of devotion cut through those misconceptions in the mind of Dhritarashtra. And so he said, get out, do not delay. Don't even tell your nephews and niece or your Kunti and all the others, your family members. So Gandhari also said, yes, this is a good idea, let's get out. And so they left. Yeah. So remember, time is Krishna's impersonal energy. Yeah? It made Dhritarashtra's situation precarious. What to speak of all of us? we are also making our situation precarious by not utilizing this time properly. So he became very realized the urgency was there, and so he surrenders, and through the power of association with Vidura, he attained a fierce determination, and therefore he cut off all the family affection, and again we see the transformational effect of the association of the saintly person. So every time a saintly person comes, and if there's no transformation in us, then there's a problem either with the saintly person or the problem with us. But if we know the saintly person are having positive effect all over the world except you, then the problem lies with us. So then we have to understand there's something wrong with me. Either I'm not practicing properly or there's something else, Yeah. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava ki, Jai Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Giri Govardhan ki, Jai Shri Shri Nitai Chaitanya Nitai Gaura Chandra ki, Shri Shri Yashoda Damodar ki, ISKCON Guru Vinda ki Jai. Yeah. Yeah. So we need such advanced, influential and merciful associates to help us. And then the other thing is, when Yudhishthira understood they are gone, he is overcome with anxiety and remorse. And he's feeling, personally he's feeling that he didn't do enough. He's also feeling he's not grateful to his uncle, because when they were very young he did take care of him, so he felt like that. And because Yudhishthira Maharaj is so wonderful person, he sees no flaws or faults in anyone. He was already thinking he is the source and cause for all the death of the 65 million or 6.5 million or 650 million. You can pick which one number you like. And he felt great remorse. And at that time, and Bhishma had to convince him. Now again he's going through the same feelings, and so Narada comes to say, stop this nonsense. Don't do this again. And then he consoles Yudhishthira nicely. That birth, death are part of life, and but among one who takes birth and die, the most important thing that we should understand is our life is actually orchestrated by our previous karma, by the sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we should understand, due to our own foolishness, we are going through these difficulties. Sometimes we make bad choices, and then we don't want to accept that bad choices. The whole world is responsible for our bad choice. So therefore, I should be annulled from all sin. Yeah? We feel like that. So here Srila Prabhupada explains, no, we make choices also, and we should accept that. As soon as we accept, and then we say, yes, I am also at fault also, I do agree, but maybe your punishment is too much, or we can say, yes, the punishment is right, or we can also say, the punishment is too little. Yeah, and mostly we won't say that. So, in lamentation, Narada says, every one of us will lament due to illusion. Okay, he says illusion, and the only shelter is devotion to Krishna. Yeah, and then finally towards the end we see that how Dhritarashtra goes to the Himalayan hermitage, and he does this Astanga yoga and Agnihotra sacrifice, and then Pratyahara, withdraws his senses, no more eating, no more breathing, and then ultimately he merges his spiritual consciousness into the Absolute, and then he allows, by using the elements, he dissociates from different elements in the body, and he lets the fire in our body has fire, and he allows that fire to consume his material body so that he's no more attached to all these things, and then he leaves. And immediately Gandhari follows into the fire. Generally it is said that if the wife follows the husband in the fire, she also goes to the same destination as the husband. So yeah, we see that, and so you can see, sadhu sanga sarva siddhi hoy, lava matra sadhu sanga sarva siddhi hoy. So here we see that this one final association with Vidura immediately cured Dhritarashtra. So, we are getting so much association from so many exalted, and look at us, oh, it's so sad, we can't even want to go back, okay. So, I think I will stop here. So, that's pretty much what it is. And after appeasing Yudhishthira, Narada Muni left. He left because he knew he has done his job, and Yudhishthira is capable enough to continue with whatever his duties are meant to be done. So yeah, so we'll stop here. Comments, questions, corrections, feel free. Yeah, yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the wonderful class. Okay, so I know that we've already talked about this like 3 times, but I'm still not.
Why not 4th time?
Okay, great. I'm still not understanding that. Vidura was lamenting because he was unable to make Dhritarashtra into a pure devotee, right?
Yes.
And so we heard yesterday that Srila Prabhupada said that Dhritarashtra only was liberated, right?
Yes.
But so I was wondering if you could explain exactly what that means, because I have the question that if you become liberated, is that into the Brahma Jyoti? But if you go into Brahma Jyoti, you have the possibility of coming down, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. But one of the things when we read Prabhupada's book, we have to know the context. Because the word liberation could also mean going back to Godhead. Yes. And liberation could mean one become free from the 3 modes of material nature also. And liberation could also mean merging with the Brahma Jyoti. Yeah. So all these are liberation, just like if you are put in a prison and then I release you, then you are liberated from the prison house. Yeah. So that is also a liberation for you. So what is the context? And here Prabhupada explains properly. Although there is a statement previously, he says, Hari, what is that? He is meditating on Hari. Hari Pavana, he says that. He's trying to meditate. But ultimately we see Prabhupada makes it very clear that he merges into the impersonal. Yeah.
So that he merges into the impersonal.
Yes, right? That's what we see. Yeah.
So but then after all that, so then he's going to exhaust his past credits and then come back down.
Sometimes you can drag a person to kingdom, right? To the end of the kingdom. But then they're still holding on to something. So in the case of Dhritarashtra, he was inimical towards Krishna. And therefore, even though he accepted his brother at the end, he could not focus in devotion with the sentiments that is required to achieve Vaikuntha liberation. Yeah.
And that was due to his offenses.
His offenses towards the Lord, towards pure devotees, and so on and so forth. Of course, we shouldn't use that as an example to say to other devotees that you'll go to this place or that place or like that. Okay, don't do that, okay? Because we do not know what is in the heart of a devotee. Externally, they may be different or they may be seemingly nasty and so on. But we do not know, we don't know what mercy they have attained from their spiritual masters and so on. Yeah, right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Anything else? Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Thank you for the wonderful class. There are certain things that got stimulated when you are speaking. It's interesting context, like Dhritarashtra is attached to somehow or other enjoy. Yudhishthira is attached, somehow or other be good all the time. Right? So, and we see Narada frees him from that kind of attachment to be nice, and all that stuff. And Vidura freed Dhritarashtra from on this side. And also Bhishma versus Vidura, both are Mahajanas.
Yeah.
Yudhishthira was able to accept Bhishma right away, his instructions. But Dhritarashtra needed Vidura to be a renounced monk to come and preach to him. And I was thinking Lord Chaitanya did a similar thing when Lord Chaitanya was in Grihastha ashram. Some people were not accepting, so he takes sannyas, he could inspire.
Right. Yeah.
So I was thinking when Vidura, now he's in this mendicant, he's different rather than probably previously Dhritarashtra, maybe also this guy is dependent on me. I am giving him shelter, maybe that ahankar was also there. But now Vidura is totally independent, so he could inspire in his renounced ashram. So
that's a good point. Sometimes we try to help people thinking I am helping. So Vidura probably was at that stage, but now he's not attached. He said, I want this guy to go back to God for his welfare, not my welfare. Yeah. So thank you for that.
I used to think in the beginning when I'm going to class and nobody is there, I'm sitting, I'm doing a favor to the speaker by going to the class. In the beginning days,
Yeah.
It's out of ignorance.
Yeah. My Guru Maharaj once said, even if no one comes to class, it's okay. You give the class because he said the deities are listening. So we have 9 of them up on the altar, including the Guru Parampara. They're all listening, and they may be laughing at us for our realization, but they are listening. Yeah. If you don't have that understanding that they are there listening, then you still have a long way to go. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? No. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Thai Gaura Premanandi.